My wife doesn't want to be intimate anymore. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, and I'm going to try to help you with this. I also apologize if you can hear the background. It's raining. So hopefully I'll be loud enough so that's not a disturbance. If your wife doesn't want to be intimate anymore, what you're really saying, because you're a man, is your wife doesn't want to have sex with you. And there's different reasons for this. There's some that are superficial but important, and then there's the deeper reasons that are much more important and probably exist regardless. So let's talk about the superficial reasons first, because like I say, and I'm just going to give you a checklist. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. And then we're going to go into what I think is much more important. Number one, do you just rush her into it? Because women are not like men. Very few. They don't get horny and want to jump in the rack. It isn't like in the movies. A woman's idea of pre-sex is talking, being heard, eye contact, engaging, so she can relax her natural, biologically induced barriers, her protections. And then moving into sex based on love, not based on physical desire. This is a huge difference between a man and a woman. Typically, is that men want to get off, women want to be held and connect. And this is usually the biggest problem and the biggest reason, the superficial reason. Then there's another, number two, is cleanliness. It's not like women like the Tarzan smell. I don't know, when I was a kid, that was like a thing that male kids understood, that women like a man, how he smells after gym class. It isn't true. Women want you to have a clean body, to smell nice, to be clean, have your teeth brushed, your hair should be nice, you should be clean shaven. Unless you have a beard, it should be properly trimmed, and like that. So that's number two. Number three is it shouldn't follow any kind of argument. Intimacy does not come after an argument. This idea of makeup sex is BS. It's just not true. It's not realistic. Going back to point number one. There's a few other things. The time and place. Most women are exhausted at the end of the day, and contrary to what most people say, well, you should try and plan it for another time. That's nonsense. It doesn't matter if she's tired. If you approach it correctly, she'll be untired. So it's a matter of learning how to engage sexually with your wife on a different level, a level of intimacy, which brings us into the much more important aspects of this and the reality of it. So, having sex is biologically driven, but that gets rather old, because what happens is we have this expectation that is realistic of connecting, and sex should be used as a connection between two souls. That's its purpose for human beings. Not entertainment, not to get off, not as fun and all that stuff. People who do that end up draining themselves. They end up experimenting with multiple partners, even going to swinging clubs, and it just sucks the life out of you. All those things end tragically. Trust me, I've been at this for 20 years. I've never heard of a couple going to swinging parties whose marriages last, because it means that they don't see sex correctly. The reason they don't see sex correctly in the context of marriage is because no one has ever taught this. We don't learn when we're kids that we're souls who have a body and a mind, or any of the good stuff that falls under that big umbrella. So here's the deal. Marriage has a couple of promises that are attached to it. One is for increasing happiness on a daily basis. That's one of the promises of marriage. You got married to be happy. And the other is that you would feel unconditional love, or marital love, however you want to call it. But a love where the heart opens. It's not in the mind, it's in the heart. If you understand these two principles, which most people don't, then you can plan your marriage, plan your actions, plan your efforts, and also be aware of things that would undermine happiness and love, and then you could have a great marriage. But we're not taught these things. So usually women are not interested in intimacy anymore because it's not intimacy. It's become sex. And sex by itself gets old. I'm sorry, it does. On the other hand, if you know what you're doing, I can promise you that you will have more sex than you know what to do with. But getting there from here requires step one, acknowledging that you never knew these things that I just mentioned, and that you should learn them. And two, progressing in the direction. You're a human being. You don't change like that. And progressing in the right direction. Now, don't get scared. I don't mean this is going to take you 10 years to get there. It's not like becoming a saint. Once you start moving in the right direction, the results come fairly quickly. So you got to do something about it. Now, at your stage, I got a couple of books that are great, but they're not going to help you. They'll help you understand the things you're doing wrong and how to communicate better and what marriage is all about and all of that. But if you're already at this stage, your marriage is breaking down. And that's why we have the course for women and the course for men, and obviously, in your case, the course for men, which is truly just a self-help course to help you become yourself, but a higher self. And then you can start impacting your marriage, your wife, and getting more than you think you want right now. Because once you start getting happier every single day of your life, once you start experiencing real love, it changes the game. Because we're not taught this stuff. We're taught such a material existence that your life is based on what you do for a living, how many cars you have, whether you have a boat, whether you go hunting, whether you go to Vegas, all these things which don't really affect our heart and our happiness. So that's it. Now, if you could go down that first list and go, yeah, I don't take care of myself well enough, I don't listen to her, I don't do any of that stuff, great. But get into the deeper part. You will be so glad that you did. Hopefully this was helpful. Blessings to you, your wife, your family. Like this video, subscribe so you can learn more about marriage, share it, and take care. And thank you for spending some time with me.